This is my pet, not for eating. Oh, okay then. Malaysia's vibrant capital city is home to endless amounts of unique and exciting experiences. But with so many cool things to do, how much does it all cost for a budget traveller? Hello guys, Ryan here and welcome back to the One Shot Adventures channel. In this episode we're going to be going through some of the best tips and tricks for doing Kuala Lumpur on a budget. And don't worry, no cats were eaten in the making of this video. The best thing about KL is that you can see the vast majority of the most popular tourist attractions without paying a penny. We kick things off by heading out to the Batu Caves. And despite being one of the most popular things to do in the city, the entrance fee is absolutely free. The site is made up of 3 limestone cave systems which are all open to the public. Walking up the hundreds of brightly coloured steps will take you into Cathedral Cave, which is the largest and most popular of the 3 caves. The inside has been decorated with elaborate and colourful Hindu temples and shrines, which creates quite an interesting contrast to the towering cliffs around them. Right near the exit of the train station, you'll find Ramayana Cave, which is also free to enter. It's smaller and a lot quieter than the Cathedral Cave, and it's also much more elaborately decorated. The statues tell the story of King Rama, and it all culminates in a tall stone staircase giving you a view down on the temple below. The third and final cave is called the Dark Cave, which is the only one you have to pay an entrance fee for. Tickets only cost 25 ringgit, and you get taken on a guided tour by torchlight through the darkness. Where the other 2 caves focused on the more spiritual side of things, this is the only naturally conserved area to explore. As you head deeper into the cave system, you'll come face to face with some of the creepy wildlife that lives in there. And the natural windows in the rooftops of the cave create some amazing sights. This is right on the outskirts of the city, but there's even a free bus that you can take from KL Central Station right to the entrance. So all in all, the Batu Caves is a very cheap day out. Staying on the nature theme then, the Petaling Botanic Gardens have been a staple of the city since the 1880s, taking up 220 acres right in the middle of the skyscrapers. It's like a fish treadmill. Keep going, guys! You do have to pay an entrance for the more popular attractions like the aviary, but the vast majority of the lush green gardens are completely free to explore. The many conservatories and enclosures showcase colourful plants from all over the world. And you'll even run into some more unexpected sights. Somehow, we've ended up at Stonehenge. Eating out in KL can be very, very expensive if you're not careful, but luckily there are plenty of budget options if you're prepared to look for them. Most mornings we decided to start our day like the locals do. Cafes in Little India like Bhakti Woodlands serve up delicious Indian food from the early morning until late at night. Fresh dosas and puris come out served with small portions of delicious curry. The service is super fast and it costs next to nothing. You can come to a place like this and get an amazing, delicious Indian breakfast for as little as 5 ringgit, which is just about as cheap as it gets in the city. For lunches and dinners, our favourite spots to hit were the Nasi Campur cafes, which are all done in buffet style. They have a vast selection of different dishes that you can just mix and match with rice, and it's a great way to try some new local dishes that you might not have tried before. This plate of about 5 different dishes came to only 17 ringgit, which is a very good deal. Another affordable way to eat is at the many food markets of the city. One of the most famous is at Jalan Alor, where you'll find a street lined with loads of street vendors and hawker stands. It is mostly famous for its seafood, but there are a wide selection of different snacks and dishes that you can try for very affordable prices. Another famous market is at Petaling Street in Chinatown, which is a little bit more geared to souvenirs and fashion, but there are definitely lots of cheap food places to check out here. So you can enjoy a cheap bite to eat while you spend way too much money on other things. Now, if you're self-catering or staying long-term, I'd recommend avoiding the expensive supermarkets and convenience stores, and instead head to the local markets like the one at Chow Kit. You'll get fresh fish, meat and vegetables at very reasonable local prices. But for me personally, some of the hawker stands and street market stalls are so affordable that I don't think I'd bother cooking for myself. Although these giant jackfruit could probably feed a whole family for months. To get around the city, we mainly used the different rail systems, which we found pretty affordable. To get a feel for the more historic side of KL, I recommend checking out Merdeka Square, right in the heart of the city. An area that showcases KL's past and future, all in one place. This is Merdeka Square, which is home to KL's big independence monument, which is this giant flagpole with a huge flag on top. But what I think is most interesting about this area is that it seems to be a melting pot for all the different styles of architecture in the city. Straight ahead is the Sultan Abdul Samad building, which is definitely the most impressive here. It was originally built by the British colonial administration, but it actually borrows a lot from classic Hindu stylings and shapes, which they used a lot in India as well. Just behind it, you've got some really modern skyscrapers and bridges. And then just behind me here, you've got what looks like an English cricket green. The architecture of Merdeka Square is part of what is known as the Colonial Walk. And this leads into a city project called the River of Life. This is where the 2 main rivers of KL meet, and it used to be a very rundown and polluted area. But these days, it's been completely rejuvenated, and it's one of the best places to take a walk around the city centre. There are some cool art installations along the way, like the countdown clock fountain. And right in the centre, you have the striking Masjid Jamek Mosque, which is also free to enter. Just off the square, you'll find the Kuala Lumpur City Gallery. Entrance is free, and inside you'll find a lot of great information and history about the city as a whole. And if you head upstairs, you'll find this very cool miniature version of the city, which puts on its own light show. The Petronas Towers are an icon of modern Malaysia. But to get up to that observation deck, it's going to cost you some silly, silly money. But luckily for us, the best views are absolutely free. The Petronas Twin Towers were the tallest buildings in the world until 2004. There are plenty of skyscrapers in the same area to get a view down onto the towers. But honestly, as basic as it sounds, I think the views from the ground looking up at the towers are probably one of the most impressive you can get. You can get free views from the front side. You can walk around the back and get some really cool views from the KLCC Park. And it's definitely worth having a walk around the giant mall that is right underneath the towers. But my favourite time to see the towers from any angle is at night. fountains of the park put on a really cool light show. And the towers themselves shine brightly against the night sky. It's one of the most striking things to see in the whole city. We were in KL over the New Year's Eve celebrations, and the fireworks display over the Petronas Towers was absolutely insane. I've made a whole video about that on the channel. And best of all, that was free to attend as well. Now, when you hear the words Malaysia and street art, the first place that comes to most people's minds is Georgetown in Penang, with its world-famous street art all over the walls. But there's actually some very overlooked and cool street art in Kuala Lumpur as well. And best of all, it's free. I usually tend to check out some cool street art spots wherever I'm traveling around the world. And yes, it looks very cool in B-roll, but I mainly do it because I think it's such an interesting and raw expression and reflection of the different cultures and people around it. And KL has some really interesting spots. And while it might not be as interesting as Penang, I still think it's worth checking out. I've left some links about the locations of some of the best artwork in the description below, so you can create your own DIY tour. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure you leave it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you've got some budget recommendations for KL, leave them down in the comments below.